Hey guys, what's going on? It's Don here from Novaspirit Tech, and today we're going to be checking out this little tiny 7-inch laptop or tablet. Well, it's called PEAKAGO and it could do both, so let's get started. Now I want to thank PEAKAGO for sending me over this review unit. They actually have a campaign going on right now, which I'll leave a link in the description below, and they offer 2.5 models. Why I say 2.5 models is because they actually offer the PEAKAGO and the PEAKAGO Pro, and then the PEAKAGO Pro with 4G connectivity. So that's not really a full different model, it's just they added some new features into it. Now for the PEAKAGO, they actually have the same CPU across the board, which is an Intel Z8350. Now it's not a super impressive CPU, but I'll elaborate more on that in a little bit. Then on the regular model, they have the 4 gigs of RAM with 64 gigabytes of eMMC, while the Pro offers 8 gigs of RAM and 128 megabytes of eMMC. That's the only differences there. Otherwise, it's pretty much the same. So one of the biggest features you might have noticed about this is the screen. This has a really pretty screen. It's an IPS panel at a resolution of 1920 by 1200. And they do suggest using a DPI scaling of 200, but I'm at 150, which gives me a little bit more desktop real estate back. Another thing you might have noticed, it's got almost like a full keyboard that you could type from. Here's another feature why they say it might be a tablet. It's because it can flip around and turn into a tablet mode. Now this is a Windows feature where you could actually enable tablet mode, and once you do, keyboards are disabled. You could press it all day long and it's not going to change other than me, flipping it back and forth. But yeah, it's pretty much in tablet mode, and you could like rotate this however you want and use it whichever way you need. Total weight of this guy is about a cup of coffee, 16-ounce cup of coffee. That's about the weight. It has a built-in webcam, almost feels like they put it in After Effects. It's a 0.3 megapixel, which is 640 by 480. I mean, it's a really low resolution. You could probably get away with using Skype on it. It offers 2 mic ports on the top and speaker ports in front, which I really do like. Compared to the speaker ports that they usually put underneath, those are useless. Like you put it on a bed or something like that, or your lap, you can't hear a thing. As far as battery life, it's got a 4,500 milliamp hour battery, which lasts about 4.5 hours. And I could tell you after using it, I am getting about that much, even more depending on how your usage is, because I could be using it and then leave it on the side for a little bit and pick it up later, and it'll last me for a pretty long time. Charging wise, they do recommend using a 5-volt 3-amp charger, and it takes about 2 hours for me to fully charge it from 0 to full, which is really good. I actually drained the battery out of this guy up to 0, like it would not even boot up anymore. So it took about 2 hours from complete 0. Any more than 3 amps, it won't even take. It only takes up to 3 amps. I tried. Now, as far as connectivity wise, you have a USB-C for charging, and also this could be an OTG. They have USB 3. They also have a micro HDMI, so you can plug it into a big screen for presentations and stuff. And for the 4G models, you actually have a little slot here that you can stick in your SIM card. One of the things I had to get used to was that it has no scroll bars. Yeah, I had to mention that. They got a little tiny optical mouse thing on the bottom, you can see. And it actually works really, really well with tapping and everything, but there is no scrolling. And when I was first using this, I was actually a little annoyed at that, but I was like, wait, this is a touchscreen and I could just scroll by, moving up and down. Then I realized that is much better because the way I hold it would be like this anyway. So it worked out. Keyboard typing on this guy was very, very easy. It does take a little bit of getting used to where the spacebar is, because the mouse left right click is right there. And if you're not used to it, you might hit those instead of the spacebar, but it takes a few seconds to get used to it, and you can type just at normal speed. I was able to type at normal speed. Loading programs are pretty quick. If I'm going to load up Word or something like that, it just works. Even though you might think it's a weaker CPU, it's made for stuff like this, so it actually works really well. Like I said, as far as typing wise, this is a typing test. It's not hard at all once you get used to it. What I did find a problem was with the right click. The backslash. The backslash was a little bit hard to find because I'm used to using those. Screen brightness is actually not a problem. I actually don't even keep it that bright, but you are able to use it outdoors if you need to. And other than the fact that the screen could flip backwards and turn into a tablet, this guy has no fans. It is virtually quiet. The heat, you could see it's actually coming from this area, but very, very light heat. Otherwise, this thing somehow keeps itself cool without having to do anything or make any noise. And that's one of the craziest features that I really like about this guy. I gotta say, I love it. I didn't think I would at first, but I've been using this for the past 2-3 weeks, and this has completely replaced my laptop. Not my desktop, but my main laptop. I'd rather use this over my laptop when I'm in a bedroom setting where I'm watching TV with my wife, or a living room, little light work. Now, I do a lot of system admin work and also a lot of remote administrative work. So I do like remote desktop, SSH, all this other stuff. A lot of things that don't really require the use of this CPU because I'm remotely connecting. And also some light media work, which is watching videos, reading Reddit, or stuff like that. This thing works really well in those conditions, especially loading up Excel or Word. It doesn't have a problem. I mean, if you need some more horsepower than that, then yeah, this might not be the guy for you because it is on a weaker CPU. But ultimately for sysadmins, remote administrative, remote management, this thing is great. It is light to bring around. If you really needed to type, like what I would do, to type in IP addresses or type in commands and stuff like that, it is very, very useful. Couple of features that I do like about this is that when you flip it backwards, I could read this like a tablet. I could actually scroll, read, go through Reddit, go through whatever. I could read this normally and I have no problems reading it, as well as, you know, pulling up the keyboard to type on this wasn't a problem at all. Another thing that I do like to use this on is like this type of mode where it's like a kind of tablet or stand mode, you could say, so I could watch my videos and just leave it on a stand without having to view the keyboard. I'm no stranger to this CPU and also like mini laptops. I have a bunch of them and I'm a huge fan of ultra mobile PCs. I actually own the first EEE 701 PC and I love small computers. And to find one that actually fits my needs, which is like remote access and stuff like that, it was very, very hard. Especially like I thought this guy would replace it. This is the GDP Win and also the GDP Win 2. I thought they were going to replace my big laptop by a smaller laptop, but this, I cannot type on this. This is horrendous. And keeping the GDP Pocket 2, that didn't work very well either because you couldn't actually turn that into a tablet mode, and I found myself being annoyed that it's always stuck in like a laptop mode on my lap. Meanwhile, sometimes I just want to, you know, use this mode instead. Now, as far as the CPU wise, and I keep going back to the CPUs, yes, I understand it is a weaker CPU, but for my use cases, I rather like it on the CPU. And yes, can it do with a better CPU? What can't? You know, the N4100 was a great CPU for this guy, or even the Core M. But you got to keep in mind, if you're going to use a stronger CPU, you're going to be drawing more battery, and it's going to require active cooling, which is a fan, which will create noise on this guy. So it's a give or take on those situations. Can I play any games on this? Anything that's 2011 and before, probably, but I don't think you would really want to play games on this guy anyway. That's what your desktop and maybe a gaming laptop is for. Is the price for this guy reasonable? Yes, absolutely, because of the screen. This screen is gorgeous compared to all the other ones I've ever used, and there is absolutely no doubt that I would pay for the Pro tax, which is the $369 for this guy, because I find myself using this, like I said, more than my main laptop that I paid $1,000 for. Is it made for everyone? Probably not. If you're more towards traveling, you need remote administration, you need to check emails all the time, and you're not really too stressed out about like playing games or anything, this thing is great. If you do a lot of like number crunching or video editing, yeah, no, this is not going to work out for that. Do I recommend getting the Pro version? Highly recommend it. You need the RAM. Windows 10 eats up so much RAM. I am going to convert this to Linux, and I've been actually honestly waiting to finish this video so I can format this, install Linux, and see how that runs, because that actually does a little bit better as far as memory management. Remember to set your notifications for that video. So yeah, if you guys enjoyed this video, please hit that like button. If you guys got any questions about this unit, hit it in the comments below. If you guys are new to this channel, consider subscribing and also hitting that bell notification icon so you know when the next video is going to be out. My friend and I started the gaming channel, and now we are up to episode 2 of our Wild 8 series, so be sure to check that out. And as I say in my nerd cave, hack till it hurts.